intro and thank Dr. Willie Jolly for putting this magnificent event together. And absolutely, I'm just so blessed and honored to be here in front of you today and be in the midst of such powerful and influential company today. I'm going to get right to it. I want to introduce myself. My name is Matthew C. Horne. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and also a trainer as well. And I'm also the owner of Lightning Fast Book Publishing, in which I sign authors and publish their books in 3 weeks. I'm the author of 5 books. I'm going to tell you about 4 of them. The first one is The Universe is Inviting You In. It's a book that came out some time ago, and I talk about how to discover what your unique purpose is in life and how to never be afraid to live your dreams. And then I authored All We Have Is Now. That talks about the power that we have to use our own gifts, talents, and abilities and create our life and do it our way and do it now. And then I authored the book Choices, The Young Black Man's Guide to Successful Living, where I give young black males a very clear picture of what's possible for their life. CNN has their statistics. The media has the way that they portray young black males, but when it's all said and done and underneath it all, as young black males, we have the power to create our life and do it our way if we develop a vision beyond where we are in life. And my latest and greatest book is titled How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life. It's a book in which I take my dating experiences and I transform them into life-changing, groundbreaking motivational messages from the book. The title of my talk today will be Understanding the Blueprints to Your Destiny. Because we all show up here with a very, very unique assignment, something that we all show up here to do, to deliver to this world. This is our uniqueness. And underneath it all, the only obligation that we have in life is to be who we uniquely are. So that's what I'm going to talk about, is understanding the blueprints to your destiny so that you can have a very clear awareness and understanding of how to see what your destiny is. Back in 2003, I was playing basketball at Coastal Carolina University. And I had aspirations and dreams of becoming an NBA player. I switched majors in my sophomore year from business to English. And when I did this, I switched in the middle of the semester. And I ended up in a speech class that was well underway. The first day I'm in this class, my professor instructs me to give him a topic for a persuasive speech. Every student had to give him a topic for their persuasive speech. And so he goes around the classroom, and he's just excited to have a basketball player in his class at this point. So he allows every one of my classmates to give him their speech topic. But when he gets to me, he says, Matthew's going to do basketball. I said, okay, here we go again. I can't get away from this thing. Basketball here, basketball everywhere. But instinctively inside of me, I wanted to use the topic that he gave me to empower my classmates. So my speech was to be delivered the next week. And I did my diligence. I prepared a speech called Continued Success in the Game of Basketball. And what I did was I paralleled my continual on-the-court successes to how my classmates could continually succeed in whatever their endeavors were in life. The premise of the speech was that you have to look forward and you cannot look back. So what I did that day came, I had a table and I had jerseys from every era of basketball I had ever participated in, all the way from Boys and Girls Club to my middle school jersey, to my junior varsity jersey, to my varsity jersey, to my Coastal Carolina University jersey, and right beside the Coastal Carolina University jersey was a pair of authentic NBA basketball shorts. Because I believed that I would get drafted, I just didn't know which team. So I chose a pair of authentic NBA basketball shorts. So I went from the Boys and Girls Club jersey to my middle school jersey. And I took the Boys and Girls Club jersey and threw it at my classmates. And I said, if you're going to succeed in life, you have to look forward and you cannot look back. You must always have a vision beyond where you are if you are to succeed in your current standing in life. I went from my middle school jersey to my junior varsity jersey, and I took the middle school jersey and I threw it at my classmates. And I said, if you're going to succeed in life, you have to look forward and you cannot look back. I go from my junior varsity jersey to my varsity jersey. I take the junior varsity jersey and I throw it at my classmates once again. And I say, if you're going to succeed in life, you have to look forward and you cannot look back. Because our success comes when we have a vision beyond where we are. So I go from the varsity jersey to the Coastal Carolina University jersey, and I repeat the same thing. So the only thing left on the table was a pair of authentic NBA basketball shorts when my speech was over. And I repeated my theme. that you must look forward if you're going to succeed in life and never look back. I was 19 years old. My only aspiration for that speech was to get an A or to get a B. My class ended right as my speech ended. And 5 of my classmates got around me in a circle as they were giving my jerseys back to me that I had thrown at them. My classmate said, "Matthew, you should be a motivational speaker." I said, "Motivational speaker? I'm 6'5" with a jump shot. Motivational speaker?" I said, "What is a motivational speaker?" I didn't even know what it was. But strangely enough, they had the most genuine look in their eyes that I had ever seen. I went back to the dorms that night and I called my mother. I said, "You're not going to believe this. I gave a speech in my speech class and my classmates told me that I should be a motivational speaker." She says, "Matthew, no, you're not going to believe this. I was at the doctor's day. He asked me what you were going to be when you graduated. I told him you were going to be a motivational speaker." I said, "Oh my goodness. It's getting spooky now." So that year, we didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. You know, this year we did. We lost to University of Virginia. It was great to get back there as a Coastal alum. But that year, back in 2003, we didn't make it. And I was back home 2 weeks later after this speech class. And I was at church. And the pastor stopped the message, called me to the front. He said, "Matthew, people are out there waiting for you to speak success to them." And he told me that my success was in obeying God. So at that point, even at 19 years old, you can't run from destiny when it's calling your name. You can't run from destiny when it's calling your name. So I made a commitment that, you know, even though this wasn't my life's ambition, this was clearly a calling. See, a calling is higher than a dream. I came here to introduce you to the blueprints of your destiny, not your dream, but your destiny. And so I made a conscious commitment that I was going to live this destiny that was revealed to me so crystal clearly. And what did I take away from this entire experience? What I took away is that it's the effortless gifts that define our true identity. We do them so effortlessly and so naturally that we take them for granted. But if you learn to cherish these gifts and you learn to cultivate these gifts, they will emerge into your genius. Every human being possesses a genius, but it's cultivated genius that makes it to the bright lights. People try to make destiny to be some big spooky thing that you're supposed to spend an entire lifetime seeking. I'm of the school of thought that destiny is usually hiding in plain sight. If we all have something unique we showed up here to do, then our Creator knows that we can't become something that we don't have an awareness of. So the signs to our true identity and to our destiny must be staring us at the face at all times. The universe must be making endless attempts to introduce us to our true selves. So that's why I advise this listening audience that if you so happen to encounter your destiny, don't run from it, run towards it. But sometimes individuals have an idea and they have instincts and they have an awareness of what their destiny is in life, but usually that requires an element of risk. And a very large segment of society would rather go with what they can see rather than what they instinctively know about themselves. Because if you can see it, at least it's predictable, it's safe, and there's no risk involved. It's measured. But the things that you can't see are where your greatest breakthroughs will take place in life, but only if you have the audacity to go after what you can't see. Sometimes it will require you to take what steps backward. I can just look at the founder and CEO and creator of Facebook.com, Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg attended Harvard University, one of the most prestigious universities in the nation. And in his college career, he decided to create a social network that would connect individuals. His passion to create this social network of Facebook.com became so overwhelming that he actually dropped out of Harvard University in order to go after of what his instincts told him what was his in life. Many people, I know the opposition that he faced. I know he faced ridicule for dropping out of one of the number one schools in the nation in order to pursue his dreams and to pursue his destiny. And he took what I call a radical risk. But oftentimes in life, a radical risk will often segue into a radical reward. As we speak right now, Mark Zuckerberg's estimated net worth is $31.6 billion because he took what were perceived steps backward in order to take gargantuan leaps forward. And whatever your instincts are telling you that your true self is, whatever your destiny, your dreams, your desires, whatever it is that rings true inside of you, it may require you to take what are perceived steps backward. Because destiny's dance is taught by an instructor named Faith. She teaches very elusive dance movements. To onlookers, it appears as if you're taking steps backward. But when the dance is over, you are light years ahead of where you or anyone else ever envisioned that you would be. So friends, I advocate and I encourage you to participate with destiny's dance. And trust your instincts, because your instincts will push you to precise places on the floor during destiny's dance. That's the only way to stay in tune with your destiny, is to follow your instincts. Because I can remember when I received my first book contract and I went on to open my own publishing company when I was 22 years old, when I graduated from college. And I began writing a book called The Universe is Inviting You In. And when I began to tell people in powerful positions and authoritative positions what my dreams and ambitions were, I met a lot of opposition. They said, Matthew, you're too young. You haven't lived enough life yet to be writing in such a genre as self-development. I was stood up publicly and told that my books weren't going to sell. I had people who I admired and respected tell me to my face, what makes you think you can do this? We haven't done it yet. So at 22 years old, maybe someone will perceive that I didn't have every bell and whistle that I needed in order to enter the self-development industry. But I knew it was my destiny. I knew it was my calling. So I opted for the signs and markers as opposed to the bells and whistles. So I followed my signs and markers, and I followed my instincts, and I kept on writing this book, The Universe is Inviting You In. But what I did is I became quiet, not in shame, but in focus. I watched who I shared my dreams with. And sometimes not everyone will be in your corner, and that's okay. That's just a natural part of the process. So what I did is I kept on writing this book, The Universe is Inviting You In, and the motivational speaker, Les Brown, came to town. And this was in the year 2006. And what I did was I put an unedited copy of the book in Les Brown's hand after he spoke at a church that was nearly minutes away from my house. And I asked Les Brown if he would please write a few words about it, if he liked it, maybe a testimonial, a forward, just something of that nature, of an endorsement nature. And 1 month elapsed, and I figured that I gave it a shot. Because sometimes you just give things a shot. You don't necessarily always get what you put back in, but it's okay as long as you gave it your best. And as my book was about to go through the printing press that day, it was already edited, designed, it was ready to go. Les Brown's staff contacted me and said, Les Brown loved your book. Use this testimonial right here. He said, The Universe is Inviting You In is a great tool on the road to your destiny. Each of us must choose our path and utilize the knowledge and wisdom that is guiding our journey from within, giving us the power to live our dreams. So let's backtrack. We go from what makes you think you can do this, we haven't even done it yet. You're too young, you haven't lived enough life yet, to having the stamp of the #1 African-American motivational speaker in the world. His stamp on my first book that came out 5 days before my 24th birthday. When I tell you this, please believe me, that if you choose to hover in the lane of possibility, the impossible will become your norm. I'll say it one more time. If you choose to hover in the lane of possibility, the impossible will become your norm. Just be your unique self. Don't be afraid of opinions, because opinions are very powerful things. With every opinion comes with it a corresponding reality, meaning that if you have dreams and desires and you have a clear awareness of your destiny and you weigh it against a negative opinion, guess what? You're going to create whatever reality that opinion is. When it comes to going after your dreams in life, there will always be simultaneous realities. You have fear, doubt, opposition, and possibility. And when I tell you that whatever reality that you respect is the one that you create, I'm telling you this from my life experience. Understand that we have the power to literally create our own reality as long as we always hover in the lane of possibility. In life, one of the most beneficial things that we can do is to play our hand, meaning that the all-knowing, omniscient creator God has dealt every human being a hand. You have gifts, talents, abilities, and a unique way and perspective that you see the world. That's your hand that life has dealt you. I can remember there was a gentleman in my neighborhood when I was growing up in Prince George's County, Maryland. And we were in 6th grade and he moved into my neighborhood. I was the first person that he met. And me and this gentleman, we were lifelong friends. I thought that that's the way that our friendship would go, that we would be friends for a lifetime. And fast forward 21 years or 20 years or so later, you know, I was 27 years old. And my friend came to me one day and he said, "Matthew, you flashy." I said, "Oh man." I said, "Where you going with this, man?" He said, "You're 6'5", you drive a such and such." He says, "And I know when you tell women you write books, they go crazy." I said, "Listen, I'm not that person that you're trying to describe right here." And right on cue, the invites to hang out became fewer and fewer until it got to a point where I was blatantly ostracized. He made it very clear that he didn't want me around. Now, this friend to this day, I still have nothing but admiration and high praise for this gentleman right here, because he was an organizer of people like I'd never seen before. He had people skills that were innate, they couldn't be taught. He had every trait and attribute of someone who could live an uncommon life of success. But this gentleman was so busy taking a prolonged look into my hand that he was blind to his own live cards. And listening audience, I'm going to tell you one thing. Embrace the hand that you were dealt. And the only way to do that is to not take a look to the right or to the left, a prolonged look around you, but look within yourself and embrace the hand that life has dealt you. Because this is what happens when you embrace your hand. It then becomes alive to you. You can see the live cards that you've been dealt, your gifts, your talents, and your attributes. And then the best thing that you can do in order to create your life and do it your way is to play the best card that life has dealt you. Tony Robbins says, "This is the most competitive era in history." He says you can't be good or you can't be great. You have to be outstanding in order to leave your mark in this society that we live in. So if you embrace the hand that you're dealt, you don't look to the right or to the left, you don't covet anyone else's hand, but you embrace your hand, those cards once again will become alive to you. And if you play that best card, you're positioning yourself to live your best life, live your life on your terms, and do it your way. Because we all have the power to do so. Our gifts are a very powerful thing. And if I came here to sell you one thing, it's to sell you on yourself and your limitless potential that you have resulting from the hand and the gifts that life has dealt you. I can remember being on vacation. I went out of the country to celebrate my 30th birthday over the summer. And I was with my brother, and my brother flew some more people in as the days progressed. And there was one of his best friends came in, and his friend and I sat down at lunch together. And we were just casually talking, taking in the sights, enjoying the food. And he began to talk about his relationship. He had a fiance, and they were having a few issues. And I just listened intently as he spoke. And when he finished, I said, "Listen, when you did this, she did this." He said, "Wow, how did you know that?" And I said, "Hold up." I said, "When she did this, you did this." He says, "How in the world did you know that?" I said, "Well, listen, I just wrote and released a book called How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, where I use my dating experiences to capture and quantify the thought processes of extremely beautiful women. and I just use my gift to understand women. And so I told him, I said, that's how I was able to do it. It's just based on the new book that I had just released. And he says, man, I want that book. But I made the mistake of not bringing any out of the country with me. In my mind, I figured I was off. But when it comes to your dream and your destiny, you're never off. I figured I could just escape it all for a week and just enjoy myself for my birthday. So in totality, I should have had some books out of the country with me to give to this gentleman. And as I went back to where we were staying, I meditated on that conversation. And there were 3 glaring truths to this conversation right here. The first glaring truth was that your gifts are the solutions that you were sent here to deliver to your fellow man. I used my gift, and this gentleman was able to immediately find a solution that he had been searching for because I used my gift, which is the solutions that we were sent here to deliver to our fellow man. The second glaring truth from this conversation is that your prosperity is in your gifts. Because when he got a solution from me, he immediately wanted to make a financial exchange. I have to have that book. Where can I get it? He would have paid anything for it right there in the moment. Because our prosperity is in our gifts. Your breakthroughs, everything you're looking for in life, the change, the new beginning, the genesis, everything you're looking for is right inside of you in terms of using your gifts and your talents and your abilities. Now, the third glaring truth that I took away from this conversation is that we were never meant to shelve our gifts. You're never off. Eventually, we got back to the States, and this gentleman did order my book. But what if this was someone who I would never see again? I may have robbed him of an experience or a breakthrough that he was looking for. So you're never off, and you can never shelve your gifts because your gifts are given to you to flow freely through you because they're solutions for your fellow man. One word comes to mind when I think about what it takes in order to live our dreams and to live our destiny. That word is audacity. I believe that audacity is a secretly admired, yet openly ridiculed attribute that we must possess in order to make it to our promised land. Audacity is what will allow you to move boldly through opinions, move boldly through opposition, move boldly through tough times. It's the fact that you have the audacity to believe that you can be the one who makes it to your finish line. So you have to have audacity when it comes to your ambition, because ambition is worthless without the audacity to set it in motion. I can remember last year around this time, there was an event called the 100 Authors Expo. And in fitting with me being a motivational speaker, I love to create my own opportunities. So I got this event in an email. I immediately picked up the phone, called the event coordinator, and I pitched myself. You have to have audacity. I said, listen, I would be a great addition to the 100 Authors Expo as a speaker. She says, okay, I'll run it past my director and we'll get back to you. They got back to me. They said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give you a chance to do a workshop. I said, oh, that's great. So I figured that whatever I had set out to do, it was accomplished. So they called me back the next day. They reviewed my credentials a little more in depth. They looked at my videos online. They said, hold up, we have a little something different for you. So what they did, they brought in Susan Taylor, the former editor-in-chief of Essence magazine, Susan Taylor. And she was the keynote speaker. They said, you know what? We want you to be the opening speaker for Susan Taylor. I had no idea this would happen when I pitched them. But see, what I took away from this is that audacity will allow your ambition to grow legs. Meaning that if you have the audacity enough to set your ambitions in motion, you never know what's going to happen. You have no idea of the outcomes that can be created when you set your ambitions in motion. So I just pitched these individuals And they ended up putting me on stage with one of the pillars of the African American community because I just had the audacity to do so. People want you. They want your unique self. They don't want anyone else but you. Your uniqueness is the greatest gift that you can deliver to this world. And never be afraid to deliver your greatness to this world. There's one story that I want to leave you with. Last year around this time, I was in New York City shopping. Just wanted to get myself a few items for my birthday. And a lady took me to New York who was like my second mother. And what she said to me, you know, she said, hey, let's just go to New York. Let's just get a few things. I think you're going to like it. And she was from New York, so I figured, hey, why not? Let's go check out Fifth Avenue. So we went to Fifth Avenue, and we ended up in the Prada store. And I ended up spraying a new cologne on that had just come out. And this cologne, it was magnificent. On the bus ride back from New York to Washington, D.C., I was literally smelling my wrist the whole time. It was that magnificent of a scent. And I went home and I actually researched this cologne. And in doing so, I learned a lot about cologne and I learned a lot about perfumes. They go through 3 phases. The first one is the top notes. It's very enticing. It draws you in. It's meant to capture and hold your attention. The second phase of the cologne is called the middle notes. The middle notes are a little bit more mellow. They take away any unpleasantries that were in the top notes. And it just smooths the scent out, makes it even more enticing. But then there's a period called the dry down period, which is called the base notes. And the base notes is the most vulnerable point in the period of a cologne or a perfume, because the scent can no longer manipulate itself. And I thought about this and I equated it to people. You know, when you first meet someone, that's the equivalent of the top notes. They give you their best impression. They want you to be enticed. They want you to think that there's something. And then you have the middle notes. That's as time progresses. They want to keep on impressing you. But then there are the base notes, where a scent or a person is in a very vulnerable position. If you want to know the truth of any scent or the truth of any person, there are 2 factors that will reveal that. First is time. The second is vulnerability. So when your back is against the wall and all pretenses evaporate, what are your lasting elements? And what are your base notes? This has been Matthew C. Horne, author and motivational speaker in training. Just coming at you live, and I'm thankful for the time today with Willie Jolly and his team to do such a great job for you all. I appreciate everyone who tuned in today. And before I go, I just want to tell you a few things just about some of the products that I have and some of the trainings. You can visit my website as you see it on the screen, MatthewCHorne.com. Go to MatthewCHorne.com/products. You can find all of my books. Go to MatthewCHorne/services. And you can find all of the trainings that I'm going to be doing. I have a training for motivational speakers coming up very, very soon. We're going to be starting on June 4th. We're going to be doing teleconference style. I'm going to give you everything I know about the motivational speaking industry over the phone via a 1.5 months of teleconference training. It's called How to Become a Cutting Edge Speaker. Go to MatthewCHorne.com/services and sign up for my How to Become a Cutting Edge Speaker training. Also, I have a book publishing company, and I will publish your book in 3 weeks. If you go to MatthewCHorne.com/services, you will see some of the authors who I've published and very detailed instructions about my publishing packages. Once again, it's been a pleasure. I do thank you. And please do remember that the best opportunities that you will ever encounter are the ones that you create. Thank you.